by children in Soweto who were protesting against the poor quality education and an adverse for right to be taught in the vernacular. Upon that background, Uganda joins the rest of Africa today in preparation for the Day of the African Child, which is supposed to be commemorated a day after tomorrow. And this is a curtain raiser event that is intended to enable children voice their concerns regarding the 10 aspirations of the vision of the Agenda 2040 for an Africa fit for children. In Uganda today, about 5% of children with disabilities have access to education within an inclusive setup. And this is attributed to the poor and inaccessible physical infrastructure, including classrooms, lack of specialized services such as sign language, interpreters, and the Braille transcribers, coupled with limited use and access to technology. About 46.7% of children experience emotional abuse by teachers, and over 40,000 children live in alternative care without adequate parental care. Among the challenges the children face today in Uganda, especially those without traces of known biological parents, is the registration of births and acquisition of national identification cards. It's from this background that as SOS Children's Villages and other child-focused organizations like Plan, Child Fund, Save the Children, World Vision, and others call upon government to provide for an alternative to register children without known biological parents. Secondly, we would like to provide an opportunity for children to participate in decision-making. We therefore call for regular monitoring of children without parental care and improvement in the physical infrastructure and the general environment to enable children children with disabilities to be in position to benefit in an inclusive setting. And lastly, we would like to appreciate Government of Uganda through the Ministry of Gender for providing an enabling environment for child participation and for the civil society organizations to operate without restrictions. This said, I want to take the opportunity to thank our partners, especially the Ministry of Gender and the Directorate of Social Protection, civil society organizations present here, UNICEF, and others, Girls Up Initiative. I may not mention everyone, but we recognize all your efforts towards promoting the rights of children. We thank you so much. My name is Didas, on behalf of the National Director, SOS Children's Villages. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Baluku. Thank you for those welcome remarks. And now I take the opportunity to welcome our Commissioner for Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, Mr. Mondo Chateka, to open this event. Welcome, Mr. Mondo.
Thank you very much, Naomi, my young sister. You allow me to speak from here. I have an impairment, so I cannot stand for a long time. We agreed with Didas that I'll make my remarks from here. But also, because I'm tall, I want to be at the same height with the children, so that I'm not a towering giant and looking down on them. Permit me also to remove my mask so that I can speak freely. I've created a space between me and Didas because I don't know where he spent the evening and I don't know whether he has tested. So I've kept the distance. I've also made sure I'm very far from Romeo. Romeo interacts with lots of people.
Romeo is safe.
The issue of COVID-19 is real, and nobody should play around with it. It's real, and that's the reason you see the numbers you are seeing here, and majority of the number, they are virtual. Because we have to adhere to the standard operating procedures put in place by government, like Agnes has already emphasized. The chairs are put that way for a reason. Let me remind you, don't shift the chair to move closer to your friend or to hug your friend. Leave the chair where it is. If it were possible, we would have put nails so that you don't shift them. But now that I'm telling you, don't shift the chair. Senior government officials, the moderator, the non-state actors, the children, members of the Fourth Estate, ladies and gentlemen, I would like, on behalf of government, to welcome all of you, and especially the children, to this National Children's Parliament, where we are going to see and hear the discourse of ideas, where we are going to see children speak out. And allowing space to children to speak out is not out of courtesy. No, it's a right for children to speak out. It's a right for children to be heard. It is our responsibility to give them space to say what they want to say. It's a cardinal responsibility. It's not a favor to the children. So no one should dare say, you know, these children, we are doing them a favor to host them. It's part of growth. It's part of nurturing. It's part of loving. So we need to do it every day. Not just here, but some of you who are adults with children, when you go back home, please listen to your children. Be the voice. Give them the voice, but also be the voice for the children where they don't reach. I want to thank you, starting with SOS, Plan, and all the other civil society organizations, our World Vision, that have put this together. Baluku has ably told you the history of the Day of the African Child. And I don't want to go into that again. It's about injustice. It's a protest against injustices. And so the African continent, under the Organization of African Union now, decided that 16th June every year be dedicated to the children of Africa. Can we clap for those men and women who so many years ago thought about this day dedicated to you? The African Union now fully embraced what the Organization of African Union put in place. And that's why, as member states, we do, even amid these difficulties, observe the day. Because it is important for us to remind the parents, for us to remind the different stakeholders that children need to be listened to. Every year, we come up with a theme. And this year, the theme is 30 years after the adoption of the Charter. And when we say the Charter, we mean the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of a child. So 30 years after the adoption of the Charter, accelerate implementation of Agenda 240 for Africa fit for children. We need an Africa which is fit for children. And what should that Africa look like? That's what we want to hear from the children. What is that Africa fit for children? How do you, as children, envision an Africa fit for children? We have our ideas, but you are better positioned to tell us what you need that Africa to look like. Of course, spaces for you to play are very important. Of course, spaces for you to be listened to is very important. Of course, issues of budgetary allocation to your education, to your immunization, budgetary allocation to your protection, budgetary allocation to address violence against children anywhere. Those are important. But you are the masters in this game. You know better than we people who are this way. We can claim to have been children once upon a time, but we are no longer children. So we want to see the world in your lenses. What do you as children want to see? And my duty will be to work with everybody else to ensure that we fulfill what we have committed ourselves to do under the different policies and legal frameworks. I'll shortly be mentioning some of these legal and policy frameworks. It's therefore a duty for all of us, including children, to play our role. It's not the parents alone. You as children, you have rights, but you also have, right here, you? Responsibilities and obligations. Rights go hand in hand with responsibilities. Issues to do with being responsible children, listening to your parents, being respectful, fearing God. All these are important for us. Now, what have we done as government? As government, one, under the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, it is a cardinal responsibility of every parent to nurture, love, and parent the children that God has given to them. Under direct principles of state policy, the roles of a citizen, one of the roles is positive parenthood. And this cannot be delegated. You can't delegate as a parent parenting to somebody else. No, it's not delegatable. Unless you are down a feet, 6 feet down in the ground. That's when your responsibilities can be taken over by somebody else. But it is your cardinal responsibility. I have seen some of you delegating upwards, delegating your responsibility to the state. The responsibility of the state is to provide a conducive legal and policy environment for you as parents to act. I've heard some people say, these are children of Museveni. I know President Museveni has his biological children. Much as you are all children of the state, he has played his role. You as parents, you have a responsibility to nurture your own children and don't refer them to Museveni or Mama Kataha. For you to do that is to abdicate your cardinal responsibility. And that is not fair. I've also seen many teenagers delegating their responsibilities to the grandmothers. The grandmothers played their role to bring you up. Do carry your own stone and look after your children. We must make a commitment, and we must make our commitments matter. Through the UN Convention on the Rights of the Children that we ratified, through the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of a Child, through the Children's Act 2016, through the Child Policy 2020, through the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, and through the commitments we have made over time to respond to violence against children in Uganda and in Africa. It is our responsibility. We cannot afford to be violent in the 21st century. The best civilized way of resolving any problem is dialogue. The moderator, who will be coming on shortly, was sharing with me a statistic which I have refused to take on because I don't believe it is true, but I know that violence in this country has reached unacceptable levels.
77.7%.
I don't want to quote that figure.
Emotional abuse and sexual violence.
But I think we need to be ashamed. If we go by what Romeo is saying, we need to be ashamed. And it's Franz Fanon, in his book, The Wretched of the Earth, who says that shame is a revolutionary sentiment.
Indeed.
If you get ashamed about the state in which you are, then you are able to work towards changing that situation. In Uganda, we are not where we were 20 years ago in terms of child protection issues are concerned, but we are not yet where we want to be. We are not where we were 20 years ago, but we are not yet where we want to be. So much done, a lot remains undone. And like J.F. Kennedy said, and I quote, things don't happen. Things are made to happen. It's you and me and the children of Africa, the children of Uganda, to change this unpalatable situation for the good of our children. Because without investing in children, without protecting our children, we have no future. You can't talk about a future without children in the discourse. I therefore would like to thank all of you, and especially a number of you who are working with us in this journey to ensure child protection. As a government, we believe in the triple P, private-public partnership. We cherish what the civil society do because we believe we cannot do it alone. And somebody said, if you want to move very fast, move alone. But if you want to go far, move together. As government, we commit ourselves to moving with you as a civil society, but within the known national development framework. Do your role, we shall do our role. We thank you so much for always being there with us, and on behalf of government, I now declare this National Children's Parliament officially opened for God and my country.
Let's give a big hand clap for our commissioner. Thank you so much, Mr. Mondo Kyateka, and I quote, "We cannot afford to be violent to our children in the 21st century." Mondo Kyateka. I hope we heard the sweet words that he has told us and the encouragement that he has given us to put forward the rights of the children. You've also heard where he's acknowledging us to move together if we want to move faster. And so at this moment, I want to hand over to Mr. Busiku, Romeo to take us to the next steps and moderate the parliament. You're welcome, sir.
All right. All right. A very good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Romeo Busiku, and of course, special thanks to Mr. Mondo Chateka for that submission. He did mention something, but it didn't give you the details in that regard. We do know that 77.7% of our young girls in schools are suffering sexual violence at the hands of the teachers. We also do know that 46% of our young girls in school are suffering emotional violence, emotional abuse by the people who are supposed to be helping them. So ideally, there's a lot that government needs to do because our partners like UNICEF are saying there's a lot of violence in our schools, so we need to be doing a lot more. We do know that 3 in 5 of our children in schools are actually subjected to some kind of corporal punishment, beating them up in the guise of, helping them attain higher grades. How will the child attain higher grades when you're beating them? They won't. They will instead suffer emotional abuse. We also do know that 46.7% of our young people are suffering emotional abuse. 77.7% are suffering sexual violence at the hands of the teachers, like I mentioned. So there's a lot more the government needs to do moving forward. And if you look at some of the aspirations of Charter 2040, which was actually ratified in 2016 by the African Committee, you can actually see that there's a lot more that needs to be done. That's why we are saying 30 years after the adoption of the Charter, we need to accelerate implementation of the same to ensure that we create an Africa that is fit for all children. So we do have Miss Rachel Ndagire. She's only 9 years old. She's right here. She has a poem for us, and she's going to be talking about aspiration number 7. Every child is protected against violence. Rachel Ndagire, you have a poem? Please come over and acquaint us.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ndagire Eliana, and I am 9 years old in primary 4 at Sir Apollo Kagwa Primary School, Chisasi. Today, I am going to talk about violence against children. Violence against children. Oh, this deadly animal. Children, children, children. Did you know that you and I can say no to violence against children? As children, we suffer physical violence, emotional violence, sexual violence, and exploitation at school, home, and on the way. Children, children, children. Did you know that violence has effects like injury, diseases, infections, unwanted pregnancies, death of children, school dropouts, and many more? It is time for us to report all these bad acts of violence to our parents, teachers, doctors, nurses, leaders, and police. To our dear leaders, we kindly remind you of the promise you made to protect us against all forms of violence and exploitation. We also call upon our political leaders, the church, the cultural leaders, police, and teachers and parents to involve us in the fight of violence against children. Together we can fight violence against children. Dear children, do not forget to wear your mask. Wash your hands with soap and water. Sanitize. Keep a social distance to prevent COVID-19. For God and my country. Thank you.
All very proficient in the English language. Rachel Ndagire, she's only 9 years old. Saploka, very, very intelligent. Like we did mention, the research is there. 77.7% of our young girls, like Ndagire, in primary school, not secondary, are being subjected to sexual violence by their teachers. 46% are suffering emotional abuse. Now, if you look at the numbers, 3 in 4 of our young girls are actually subjected to some kind of corporal punishment. And according to Mr. Mondo Charteka's government, corporal punishments were outlawed. So why are we still beating children in that regard? So we do have the 10 aspirations of Agenda 2040, which was ratified in 2016. We shall be taking a look at them one by one. They are 10. So I shall be calling on to some of the children to actually talk to us about how they understand the 10 aspirations of the Agenda 2040. And the first one is, the African Children's Charter is supervised by the African Children's Committee to provide an effective continental framework for advancing children's rights. Now, that is a complicated term. So when we break it down, we are asking, are children's laws at African level important? And we're also asking, how do you think such laws at the African continent level would promote children's rights? I'll kick off with Rachel Ndagire. Let's start with you. Come over. Yes. I want to know, are children's laws at African level important to you? Come and talk to us. Yes, I asked, are children's laws at the African level?
Yes, they are important.
So how do you think such laws will promote rights of children?
Let me think. I really don't have an answer to that, but I can think.
All right. I'll get you off the hook, Rachel Ndagire. Okay. All right. Let me get another child. You can come. She a participant? All right. Cheers. All right. Are children's laws at the African level important?
Well, my name is Divine. According to me, yes, they are important somehow, and another way they are not important because I don't know them.
You do not know the laws?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Mondo Charteka, our children do not know the laws that are governing them. So that is another callous development right there. So let me also have another one right there. You can come. All right. What children laws are you aware of, and what laws in Uganda are you unhappy with? Take it over.
A very good morning. So, about the laws of Uganda, there are laws that I know. There's National Adolescent Health Strategy. The National Adolescent Health Strategy is important that this helps us to know more about our health status. But then what does not make me happy is that there are no teenage centers in different districts, but that there are some in rural, in different villages whereby children do not access it, and whenever they go there, there's some questions that they are asked, and replying them is not always easy for them. So we have to have some different counselors who simplify the words for the children. And then another is that there are no people who use sign language in different health centers for children. So people with disabilities also have problems. Whenever they go there, they have difficulties in expressing their feelings. Thank you.
All right, thank you very, very much. All right. We'd also like to know, gentlemen, you can come. All right. So everyone here is below, not everyone, but most of the young people here are below the age of 17. So, young man, your name?
My name is Lois Bwebali. I am from SS Children's Villages,
right.
Uganda.
So we'd like to know, what makes you happy and unhappy regarding child registration at birth and other information regarding children in Uganda?
what makes me happy about child registration is that most children have gotten the opportunity to register, especially those under the care of certain parents and caretakers. But then also other children haven't also gotten the opportunity to do the same, since like normally you have to require, you need many letters, including some. Now those ones without parents, let me say your parents have died, you have to get someone to take you in order for you to receive like your registration. And then in case, let me say, you don't have a parent, there is nothing you can do to get the registration, and you'll be counted as an illegal person of the nation. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, sir. I'll have that lady. Please come over. Yes. All right, we are talking about the plight of children in Uganda. What better way to talk about the plight of children than themselves speaking on their own, speaking. All right, let's talk about childhood. Childhood looks at the stages of growth of all children from 0 to 17 years, right? What makes you happy and unhappy as a child as you go through these stages, 0 to 17? Yes.
My name
as you go through those stages, 0 to 17.
My name is Abaisenga Deborah. My name is Abaisenga Deborah. I'm glad to be here. From Kafomi. What makes me happy going through the growing stage, the age range from 0 to 17 years of age? What makes me happy? Okay, like it depends, because I have parents. So when you have parents, it's kind of easy growing up, which is not the case. With the other kids. At the age of, let's say, 14 to 17 years of age, so many girls, speak mostly about girls, go through what we call sexual violence in so many, violence in so many ways. Most of the girls go through assault. And though the government has put in place laws and regulations, there are some of the regulations that are not easily implemented, like assault. You're assaulted by, let's say, a boda guy. It's not easy to get justice. So girls, especially the adolescents, go through that, and that makes me unhappy. Thank you.
Have you experienced sexual violence in a school setting, or any person you knew of?
Sexual violence?
Yes.
Yeah.
In a school setting?
In a school set?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yourself?
No, but people I know of.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how rife is this in your school where you come from? Like, how widespread is this problem?
How?
Would you say it is at 90%, 20%, the issue of sexual violence in your school?
Sexual violence, I would say sexual violence, it's actually difficult for girls to come out and say, I've been violated sexually. It's not easy. So even if the number would be at, let me say, 10%, like, let me say, 2% of the girls will come out to say, I've been violated.
I see.
Yeah.
In your school, do you have support structures, like SOS centers, whereby if a girl is being molested by a teacher, you can go and report? Do you have those infrastructures?
Yes, we do.
Are they functional?
Yeah, they are.
All right,
but not in so many schools, especially the private schools.
I hear you. Thank you very much. All right, let me also, very proficient, very, very proficient. Let me also have the lady. Please come over. We want to talk about growing up as a child and access to basic amenities, basic needs like sanitary pads, maybe uniform, school fees, and so forth. Basic amenities. Talk to us about that, growing up as a child. How hard or is it, how hard or easy was it for you to access these basic needs? Maybe you can hold this.
Good morning to all. By the names of Nalma Gajaki, Plan International. Actually, growing up as me, it's been okay and good because I live with my parents, and basic needs, I've been able to get all the needs I need. Growing up has been one good experience for me because I've had a number of people sharing the experiences, and so I've been able to know everything I'm supposed to know during my growing up stage from the age of 0 to 17. But dependingly with the other girls, can I also talk about the other girls? Thank you so much, okay? These are the girls, because I come from a project called Offences project, where we have a number of girls who do share experiences they've gotten. And actually growing up from the age of 0 to 13, well, it was a bit okay, but from 13 to 17, it's been really one kind of a hectic situation, being that, say the culture, our parents say that ladies usually do not share the sexual bit of the growing part. They only tell you you're growing up, you're a girl, but then they leave out some other issues. And we have friends who usually tell us, when you're growing up, you're supposed to do this. When you're growing up, you're going to go through this. And when you're growing up, this and this is supposed to happen. So we usually do not get the educational bit of the sex, says the sexual reproductive health rights. And then this also results to teenage pregnancies because these girls are being lured into sex because of exposure to sex due to the internet, say, because they get this information from Facebook, they get the information from a number of stories, a number of sharing from friends. Someone will tell you the moment you're 14, you're supposed to try out sex and know what is good in it. The moment you're 15, 16, you're supposed to do this to get this, and maybe sexual pleasure. And actually, growing up has been so hard for some people, reason being they lack the basic needs. And these needs are usually the menstrual bit of it. Say she's gone through her phase. The parents lack money to buy menstrual pads because they're going to be like, how can I spend 3,000 on getting you a pad if I can't even get 2,000 for food? So she is forced to look for money to get pads. And then in this the situation of looking for money, she's going to be lured by a man who is going to be able to give you the necessities you need. And then through giving the necessities, you're supposed to pay back. And what is paying back? That is sleeping with him. Through sleeping with him, teenage pregnancy occurs. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that wonderful submission, of course. All right. We are now going to talk about access to quality education. Yes. What we do know is that since we introduced universal primary education in 1997, we've seen, a high enrollment of students in primary. But then the fact is over 30% of those learners who join primary school drop out. That's what we do know. So that is another callous development in that regard. We also do know that there are some young children who are grappling with special needs. But then access to education for young people with special needs is only at 5%. That's why we need to do more, Mr. Mondo Chateka. 5%. And if you look at those who go for the particular special needs school that are specialized, it's only 10%. So we need to increase enrollment for those who have special needs and other children who are grappling all the same. So my next question is, what makes you happy and or unhappy regarding children of Uganda accessing quality education? It's also a question that could go for our people who are online, the children who are online and would like to participate in this conversation. what, in your view, is quality education? What are the limitations, in your perspective, limiting or curtailing quality education in Uganda? Let us in on what your submission is, and I shall be able to actually acquaint the rest of the people in this room. If you are online, please get your answers ready. There's also a lady who wanted to say something. You raised your hand. Was it you? Please come over. Yes. You too. Yeah. But you first. All right. What makes you happy and unhappy regarding children of Uganda accessing quality education? We do know that out of those children who enroll for primary, 30% drop out. And we also do know that 57 million primary school age going children are actually out of school. So we need to do more. Please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I raised up my hand to just say that if you're speaking, please lower your mic because it is so loud. Like, it brings interaction. So for the question, pleased to be here. I'm Flavia Nances from SOS Children's Villages, Uganda. So for the question, what makes me happy in regards to education? Yeah, access to quality education is, first, I would like to thank the government for putting USE and UPE because many children, at least they get access to education. But in regards to quality education, many people have not been able to access quality education. Like in villages, let me say Mitiana, Mwerere in particular, like there is one school and many children are in that area. So many of the children have to walk a long distance, which is by like they walk to and fro every day. This can bring about tiredness and it reduces the morale of a child to go to school. If like you walk every day for a long distance, you can't tell me that you can't get tired. So this affects the child very much. Hence, can't receive quality education. The second issue is, in most of the schools, let me say in villages, there are no libraries. So a teacher can tell a student to go and research.
Right.
And the school doesn't have a library. And you also don't have access to the internet. So it is very difficult to go and research information. And this is an issue in most of the schools. So this makes me unhappy. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. There's another lady who wanted to make a submission. Then we can have two gentlemen talking about how they think access to education is at the important moment.
Thank you for this great opportunity you have given me. My name is Nakauka Maureen from Uganda Youth Development Linki. I'm so glad to be here. First of all, I want to share what is quality education is. First of all, quality education is whereby the school, when it has good quality teachers, the school when it has a very good conducive climate,
right,
and a school when it has each and everything good for the children to learn.
All right.
So what makes me happy to access quality good education is that if when I'm in a good quality education with all the basic needs I want, it will help me to sharpen my future by learning the good things I want. Like some of us, we had our dreams of being good nurses and doctors. So if you are in a quality education, it will help you to reach your future. But what makes me sad, some of us, our parents cannot afford those good quality education schools, whereby we find ourselves when we have not reached our goals. Nextly, when you are in a good quality school, you can make good friends who can help you to get a job in future. When you leave school, your friend can say, I had a friend called Maureen. She has no job, but my mom or dad has a very big company. Let me get her a job for being a secretary, which is a very good chance. But if you don't join those good quality education schools, you can end up not having a job because you don't have a friend who was in a good quality education. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very, very much for that submission. Let me get a gentleman. Yes, gentleman. From behind there. Let me get two gentlemen. Okay, you come. And we talk about the fact that that is aspiration number 8. Children benefit from a child-sensitive criminal justice system. So, do children commit offenses? Simple question. Do children commit offenses? What happens to children who commit offenses? And how are such children handled? Would like to know from your gift. How are you? Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Asuma Gift Katsijile, and I come from the organization called SASCU, Save Children Uganda. Yes, children commit offenses, but they commit them with some reasons or with many reasons.
Yes.
Like for us on streets, children commit offenses like when they are on peer pressure. Because they don't have where to sleep, because they don't have anything to eat, they become criminals in order to get something to eat or in order to get somewhere to sleep. And where they sleep, there is elders who always put them on panic. They say that you have at least to get something in order to stay here, or you have to get something in order to eat something from here. Now, it means as children who you, like me, I used to live on the street. So it is very difficult for me to get something good or to wear something when I have not committed the offense.
Indeed.
Like to get money or to steal a phone in order to earn a living.
I see. Let me ask you, Gift. At what age can a child be held responsible for criminal offenses?
In most cases, even nowadays, they can send a child of like 9 years, 8, to do something.
Which is against the law?
Yeah.
All right, Mondo Chateka will help us expound more on that. Thank you very much, Gift. We also have beautiful children on the internet who might want to make a submission, 1 or 2. Thank you very much, Gift. Yes, do we have any? We don't have. All right. Audience, please, you come over. We are going to talk about... All right. If you are online, we would like to ask you a very pertinent question. Do you think disasters, emergencies like the COVID-19 pandemic and war situations affect children? We would like to know how emergencies such as COVID-19, war situations when people start to fight, how do they affect children? We would like to know. Hi, Howard. How do you do? All right.
Hi.
All right, Howard. Let us in on that. The fact that there is violence against children. Would like to know what makes you happy and unhappy regarding protection of children in Uganda against violence, exploitation, neglect, and abuse. Very important.
For me, what makes me happy is that some of parents have care to their children, and some of parents, like they have money to afford the schools, what. But what makes me unhappy is that in slums or deep there in villages, many parents don't mind about their children because of poverty, and that can lead to unwanted pregnancy, criminals in kids, and once they get them, they just beat them seriously without even investigating. And most of the parents just welcome their kids with what they have stolen. So that makes me unhappy. And most of children are being exploited sexually, and they can't access to justice. And that makes me unhappy. Because whenever you can try to go to law enforcement, they just chase you away because you don't have that right, any order who can help you to give out something like paraffin. They will just tell you that, bring here mafuta so that I can help you. So if I can't have money, if I don't have that money to get justice, so how am I going to be helped? Even this pandemic, has made many children to be pregnant because they at their home they have poverty, so their parents can't afford food. They just chase them away. At 15 years old girl, they will just tell her, you know what, you are 15, so get your own business. You start to work, you buy your own soft pads, you buy jelly for smearing your body, you buy clothes at 15 years old. Because you don't have your father, your mom has a stepfather, those so-called step-parents are unwanted, you know. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to hear from someone from the Uganda Refugee Law Project. You're putting on yellow. Please come. Yeah. All right. We would like to know what makes you happy or unhappy when it comes to protection of children against violence in Uganda. That's a question for our people online. And we were also asking if you think emergencies such as COVID-19, more situations actually expand more suffering for our children in Uganda. And what can we do to ensure that we make them free from such situations? All right. Go ahead.
Emergencies like the pandemic, they affect children a lot. Like we see, their education has been affected very much because we see a person is now going to be in class for the third year. That is really affecting. If that happens continuously, children will drop out of school and just say, I'm tired of education, because they are in the same class for a long time. So emergencies like that really affect children.
Indeed.
They result to criminal cases like stealing to survive.
Right.
So emergencies really affect the children. And what I would suggest is that I would first thank the government because they have at least managed to protect the children throughout this pandemic. But then we also need to take more measures so that the children can be more protected.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's hear it from Uganda Refugee Law Project. Please come in.
Kaminga is brought to you by
Mirinda. Mirinda.
Grab yourself an ice-cold bottle of Mirinda Orange at any shop or supermarket near you. Mirinda Orange, the taste that makes you go ORNG.
The government, through the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, started giving out a special grant to persons with disabilities who are well organized in groups in the financial year 2009-2010. The purpose of the grant was to support income-generating activities of persons with disabilities, to provide employment, improve the income status, and enable them become partners in the development process of the country. From financial year 2010-2011 to financial year 2019-2020, Uganda shillings 3 billion was earmarked for this grant for all districts in Uganda. Unlike the first year where 48 districts received the same amount, in subsequent years it kept dwindling as the number of districts and the population of persons with disabilities increased. It is upon this background that National Union for Disabled Persons of Uganda, an umbrella organization of persons with disabilities in Uganda, with support from Together for Inclusion, in collaboration with Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, will be holding a talk show on Monday 14th June from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. to raise awareness on the performance of the special grant for persons with disabilities from 2009 to 2010 to date. The challenges experience therein and the recommendations to improving the impact of this grant on the lives of persons with disabilities. The panelists are Esther Chozira, Chief Executive Officer, National Union of Disabled Persons of Uganda, and Emily Ajambo, Acting Commissioner, Disability and Elderly, Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development.
On the next episode is brought to you by... On the next